Hi, I'm Janet Napolitano, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Homeland Security begins with hometown security. That's why I'm pleased that Walmart is helping to make our communities more safe and secure. If you see something suspicious in the parking lot or in the store, say something immediately. Report suspicious activity to your local police or sheriff. If you need help, ask a Walmart manager for assistance. Thank you for doing your part to help keep our hometowns safe.
Dave here with ETN News. I'm sure you've all seen by now how we've seen some videos of local Walmarts being closed and converted to Fema camps. Well, a question came to mind. How easily could they convert our local Walmarts into a Fema camp? Let's take a look. This is a complex like many other Walmarts, conglomeration of various stores, and as one of the first things we notice is there's a chain link fence around the perimeter of this whole complex. And one thing that struck me the most was how swervy the roads were to get back into the back portion of this Walmart center. And you'll notice they're really tight curves, and it swings around here, some various outbuildings. It just kind of flows up along. It's quite swervy, actually. There's no real reason why they would have done this. I can't see why. Have some guardrails ruffling around here. And this actually comes back approximately a quarter mile from the building. And as you'll notice, the chain link fence is still around the back. It's pretty obscured, brush and such. But we come around this last corner, you'll notice along the back here, oh, there's another corner, I'm sorry. It just keeps rolling around. It's just swerving and twisting. Now, as we're back here behind the center, one of the first things you'll notice we pull up here is we have a series of poles here. Looks to be very high-powered lighting. As you'll notice here, there could be possible cameras. There's definitely some extra power. So this is just another little thing I saw. Now where we stopped here, there's this break in the gate, and you'll notice a set of railroad tracks right behind there. Thought it was very strange that there was only one gate in this whole area. And as we get onto the railroad tracks, you can see it's a double row of railroad tracks in both directions. Well used, and keep in mind I'm going to talk about these tracks because they will go somewhere. Now as we proceed back through the gate, you'll notice as we look down this line in the opposite direction, you will see up here on the pole another one of those, looks to be high-powered lights, and this one seems to be numbered. Once again, there could be cameras within these two, so just another thing to point out. Now take notice of the positioning of these railroad tracks and this road. There's a high hill behind there, which basically is all woods. There's nothing back there. You would be pretty hard pressed to get up over that if you were trying to escape. Thought I'd just point that out to you. Now I just wanted to point out, looking at the back of the Walmart, notice the distance between this road and how far this area is out to the back of these stores. Large enough for a fairly large staging area or to put up more fencing if needed. And notice that we are right off, if you take a look here, right off a major highway right back there. You can see the trucks. So, I mean, if and when they decide they wanted to do this, they could probably pull this off fairly easily. The size of the area, it's all chain link fenced in, I mean completely surrounded in a valley, right off a major highway, as well as a set of railroad tracks. Now as we move on here, you'll see this intertwining road just keeps going. We're pulling up actually behind the super center here. We'll notice some, your usual things you see back there, some truck bodies and truck trailers. There's just so much potential here for making mischief in the eyes of FEMA. So as we go around here, pulling up through the center, and you'll notice that we come across these storage containers, which are rather interesting. A whole series line of them. I'm sure they use them for storage or whatever, but they could be utilized for other things. We swing around here, and this is something we see along many Walmart stores. This area here, it's a fenced-in area. A lot of people think it might be used for staging. We've seen some videos that they showed that. And we'll pull up here, and the parking lot is filled with cameras, but this thing, I have no idea what that is. So as we see here, there is so much potential for turning a Walmart, at least my local Walmart, into a FEMA camp. We pray and hope that never happens, but we've seen it, in the media, a lot of people making claims to it, and from Walmart themselves, as well as, I believe it was Department of Homeland Security. So, you don't think this can happen in your neighborhood? Think again. What you're looking at is the holding point located in my hometown. This was a area that was used by the war faction to store supplies. Does this look familiar? During World War II, the United States Army established a holding point in upstate New York. It was used to collect and store military supplies and equipment like tanks and weapons that were shipped overseas for the war effort. The facility was built in 1942 at a cost of $8.25 million. Nearly 700-acre plot had 1.5 million feet of open or ground storage, spacious warehouses, and 37 miles of railroad tracks. Now these tracks are the same tracks about 5 miles away to our local Walmart. They're connected. With so many men serving in the military and an increased demand for workers in factories that had ramped up production for the war effort, the area was suffering from a labor shortage. One source of additional workers was prisoners of war. In August of 1944, around 200 German prisoners of war went to work at the holding point. As you can see, this was a rather large facility, quite huge. They later on took in 400 Italian prisoners of war and housed them here. Many of them built homes in this area, and under armed guard they were allowed to go out into the public, and much of the public was not very happy about it. So as you can see, our government does, as Aleister Crowley says, do what thou wilt. That is the motto of our government. Don't think it can happen here? Remember, 120,000 Japanese Americans were forced into isolated camps in the Midwest, forced to sell their homes and businesses. 2/3 of them were American born.